Sweet, isn't it? Very simple. Brake at the brake run, it will run back through to the station. Hey, welcome everyone. Today I am going to be teaching you how to make a advanced roller coaster in Roblox Studio. This will be using a CFraming system, which is the most, I guess, advanced version that I know. This one is a version that is released to the public. I'm just going to be teaching how to do it since no tutorial exists for this. I hope this will help you, and if you have any questions after it, please let me know in the comments. If you make any cool creations from this, please let me know in my Discord server linked in the description. I would love to see it. Anyway, let's get started with it. The first thing you're going to want to do is to get this model that I have provided with you, that I have provided you with, in the description. It's basically everything that we're going to be using in the video. It has all the stuff you're going to need, and it's pretty straightforward. Just be ready to use it. Now, once you have that, we are going to work on the skeleton of the roller coaster and the base of the train. This is where we make sure that the car and layout are properly set up to allow for the system to be applied. These two parts will go unused when we apply they're just going to go unused for now. We will basically use them in the next step when we put the train and the track together for the train to read the track. You'll see. What we're going to do now is we're going to make our coaster track. On the NWS Space Coaster plugin, this plugin right up here, super duper useful, right here too, we are going to make a layout. So let me show you how to do that really quickly. Up here, I'm going to click select. Okay, or it's just not gonna load yet. I guess you gotta click it twice sometimes. It's a little bit fancy. Now we're gonna bring it up. This is our starting piece. I like to have this normally be the station. You can have it be whatever part you want. I am going to go back to my plugin, and I'm going to click add to end. It's going to add to the direction that is moving. The direction that is moving is the way these little like yellow pegs are going. So yeah, I am going to be making my little chain lift. These little pieces here, this red piece is made to be mainly used for the movement and and guiding to where it's going to go next. These white pieces are made to move like forward and back to bend the curve to either make it more gradual or more abrupt. As you can see here, I'm using the little white pieces to make these corners less abrupt and more fluid, like they follow through more instead of like hitting like a little corner. Now, since this is a C-frame coaster, if you want it to hit that little corner, it will make it through the corner no matter what. That's the great thing about C-frame. Anything you do, any element is possible with C-frame. It's not limited to sharp turns or anything like with Roblox physics, like in a previous tutorial I did. A little card in the corner for that right now. As you see, I'm using all the little pieces to create my drop, just kind of working with what I got. It takes a lot of practice to know what you're doing. This purple piece is very useful for banking, as you could bank your turns with this, and you could only bank your turns with this. Rotating it another direction will not work. It will not let you do that. It will still change the interval. Yes, it will, but I recommend just not doing that so that you'll just get smooth banking. I am going to finish the rest of my layout really quick and get back to you when I need to explain the rest of the buttons. Now, since I have gotten to the end of my little layout, I want to join the ends. So I'm going to come up here and click the join ends button. This will join the last final two pieces when they're within a specific range. I don't know why it always decides to bank it all funky like this. Luckily, we can just rotate that purple piece to be flat. This will be my brake run, so this can be flat or whatever, you know. Now let's go back and see all the buttons. This piece right here, the split button, if I select a purple piece and I click split, it will detach it, which is kind of annoying because I don't really want that. And I kind of regret clicking that really quick. So let me just fix it up real quick. I don't recommend using the split function because now I just broke my ride. So note to self, do not use the split piece because it decided to crash my entire coaster. I will be right back. I'm going to make a little layout really quickly and I'll get right back to you with that. As you can see here, I just had to recreate another whole thing because I messed up. My bad, guys. I apologize for that. So, now time to show you what all these little buttons do. We had the join ends, which you just saw, the split ends, which you just saw and witnessed. Now we have divide. Divide is where I could technically click one of these and divide. It's useful if you want to get more exact like things. Yeah, we have delete. I'm not going to be using this one because it's when you select a red one and you delete it, it will automatically like join these two pieces together. So yeah, actually wait, let me show you this real quick. Right here, you will delete, and you see how it does that? It made it flat because it turned it into one piece. Now I can divide it again and I could just move it back up. See, fixed. Except now we got these really weird bumps and I'm just gonna smooth it out. That slay, we got it. Now the last one is flip. This tool is super useful. Do you see how my roller coaster is gonna be moving in this direction because the yellow little pegs are moving this way? way. If I flip it, it will be going the opposite direction when it traces. So something really nice and you're able to do is if you finish the coaster and you run it with CFrame, and it's going the wrong direction, if you have saved this and you're in the same exact session without having closed Roblox Studio, you can flip it and keep it. So that's why I recommend keeping this whole entire roller coaster when you are like finished with it, because there's always that, just in case, if you want to fix something, you can always do it as long as you're in the same session. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to compile it. Compiling is basically creates our skeleton. Now, since I'm pretty happy with my roller coaster, I'm going to delete this roller coaster creator thing. I don't know what it's really called. The base skeleton part. Now I have this better skeleton. You can see my station here, as kind of marked by this yellow, this station here, this chain lift / launch area, the creating of the force, the upward motion, or the creator of the motion, which is the green kind of, and then my brake, which is going to be stopping the motion to let people board again before going back to the station, which is the blue kind of here. Now, you don't have to label these like I did over here. This is just to help you basically, like, know where you are, or just to kind of show you where I have it laid out. It's more useful to plan that when you're sketching your layout, to have and know those areas. I obviously just jumped into this because I've done this a lot, but I recommend if you're just starting to have a little bit more planning done, so you won't make as many mistakes and have to do it for 8 hours like I did the first time. Next, it is time to get our train ready for CFraming. Now, normally on Roblox physics, you wouldn't have to do any of that, but then the train would have to be specific and work for your model of track and all that fancy stuff. And we don't really want that. So here we have our train. I have mine set up to where, well, you kind of have to have it set up this way, but to where it's kind of like in this like skeleton sort of way where it's like in the special groupings. So on the side over here, let me show you really quickly. If I select my train over here, you can see in the folder with it in the train. So I have my whole train selected. In the train, I have each of the cars selected and with their corresponding number. Very useful. If I go into train 1, you can see I have my car, which is all of the parts that are for like viewing that technically don't need to be there. Then we have the seats, and the seats are these fancy pieces here. That basically allow us to sit in the seat. They're not actual seat parts, just so you know. They are seat welding pieces that work with something I will tell you in the future. And then we have the base. The base is this piece. This piece is what basically runs off of the CFrame. With this piece, we are able to connect it to the skeleton of the track, and that's what allows it to run smoothly. It's like an animation kind of, if that makes any sense. As you can see, we have the car, we have the seats. The seats have their corresponding numbers. Make sure that they have their corresponding numbers. I think you can have max 4 seats per train. Probably more, I just never really tried that. And then we have the base. Important note, in the train here, you need to, this model here, you need to have the primary part be the base. The primary part needs to be the base. Otherwise it will not register properly. So you can see here, our primary part is the base and the base is inside this. I am very much emphasizing on this because otherwise it will not work. Make sure you do this. So as labeled here, I will go over it one more time. We have the entire train model, each car labeled in their numbers, the visible part of each car. So that's gonna be what's visible. We have the grouping of the parts that will act as the seat. So these are all like the seats titled 1 through 4. We have the base, which will run up. Make the primary part of the corresponding train model. You can see how we have all these pieces. And the best part of this is when you finish with these pieces, you can make them invisible. You could turn their transparency all the way up or down, I don't really know. Now we are going to be CFraming the track. This is a stage where we'll link the car to the track that we made. The car will read the settings that we use. It'll read off of the track. It is extremely useful because it's what runs it basically, if that makes any sense, which it should. Now we can finally set up the model. Ungroup all of the models in the model, basically into the proper locations and make sure what's left isn't in a group. So I'm gonna do this really quick over here. Now here we have our whole system like sleigh, and we are going to, as you see this, it says to ungroup everything. So we are going to click up here and we're going to ungroup the main model. So it has everything right here for it. I'm going to first one in workspace, Control U, it will ungroup it and put all of our stuff here. Now I'm going to go replicated storage down here, ungroup it in replicated storage, take this server script service thing, ungroup it in server script service, grab this starter GUI fun stuff, sleigh, and ungroup it in starter GUI. Now we have one more thing, which is starter player script. I don't know what this does because I don't know any of this does. I'm just kind of happy that it works, and I'm going to put it in starter player scripts and ungroup it there. Now we have everything ungrouped in the proper place. I'm going to quickly go over what all these are. These are our seat pieces from before that I put into the train. This is the base part. This is the seat part. I'm going to be deleting this since I do have a train already provided, and I will be putting it in this folder. This is the little seating piece for like people to control it at or whatever, you know, like how people want to like role play. I don't really know how it works. I know you can sit there and click the green button to go. That's about it. Here's the exit piece. When the player jumps out of the train at the end of the ride ends, they will be teleported to this piece like 99% of the time. Otherwise it fails. I don't know why. Don't get mad at me about that. I'm going to drag a copy of a train that I have, and I am going to put this train piece into my generic coaster folder. Now this train is all hooked up and ready to go. Since we set up all the seats and we made sure everything is named properly, that's very important. Make sure it's all named like this, properly set up like this. Probably went over that. It should just run properly in here now. We will now see this piece, and this piece is our compiled coaster. We are going to rename this to tracks because that's how it reads it, I guess. It has to be fancy. We're going to select one of the parts towards the middle of the station, and we are going to rename it to 0. This is like the start of one of the block sections. We're going to select the part directly after it, and we are going to rename it to 1. This, I don't know why it wants to be all fancy like that, but it has to be reversed. Just know it's kind of like backwards, but this part is 0, and this part is 1. This is what allows the train to like measure off of it. So it's going to like spawn like right here in the middle, and it's going to just go with it when this little countdown hit 0. To be able to test your roller coaster, now it should work since we have everything in there. If it does not work, make sure you check back, make sure everything's named properly, make sure the base is the main part, make sure everything is functioning, everything's in the right space. But to be able to test it, we have to publish it to Roblox and play it through Roblox. We cannot test it in Roblox Studio. Do I know why? Hell no. Does it have to be that way? Hell yeah. Sadly, I don't know. So we're going to publish it to Roblox and we're going to test it on Roblox. One very important thing I forgot to mention before we test it is to move the track folder into the generic coaster folder. Make sure you do that because otherwise it will not work. I cannot believe I forgot such an important step, but make sure that your trains and your tracks are in here. As you can see here, our roller coaster has connected to the track. It was pictured right here and it has connected up here. You can see a countdown has successfully started. And once this timer gets below 0 and you are sitting in the seat, no, wait, not below 0. Once it gets below 30 and you are sitting in the seat, you are able to click the go button. Now you can see our train is moving on the track. Sweet, isn't it? Very simple. You just have to make sure all of these factors are proper and you will get a train that runs on the track like this. Brake at the brake run, it will run back through to the station. It will do everything properly. One of the great things about the CFrame system is that you do not have to implement any POV button. If you take a seat in the ride, you will see that it will automatically put you into first person, and we have 2 other camera modes available. As you can see, it has automatically put me in first person. Now, if I press C on my keyboard, it will put me into this third person view on like the corner of the train. And if I press C again, it'll put me in a cinematic view. This is perfect for making YouTube videos, recording, and even sending me your creations. I would love to see it. There's many ways to record it. Now, the best part is it will automatically take you out of the first person, any of the camera positions, when the ride ends. Now, if you're in something other than first person, it will not teleport you out, but all you have to do to get out is to jump. It might put you back in the seat because it likes to be stingy. Okay, maybe multiple times, just spam jump and it'll take you off and you will teleport here as you just saw. An amazing system. Works, I'm not gonna say flawlessly, but it works very well for a free system. Now that it's working, we can work onto the aesthetics of the ride. We are going to go to our plugins tab and we are going to use the Coaster Tool plugin. There should be a link in the description to this. If there's not, then let me know, but there's probably 100% going to be one because I am going to put one in there. So just be ready for it. We are going to go down and we are going to select, after scrolling down a bunch, to the high quality B&M track to use for this train. It's the one I prefer because it looks the nicest in my opinion for this because it has its own support system added. It does not have any more options like a brake run option or a chain lift option, so those will have to be placed down manually, but it looks very nice. So let me show you how to use it. You're going to click on the piece right before your station for the black parts. You're going to click here. You're going to see nothing happened when it's activated. You're going to click here again and you're going to see that a tag has been created. You will continue to click through these as the track creates. Now, what you'll notice is when I clicked over the parts that were 0 and 1, nothing was formed. That's because it's not called track anymore, and instead the start and end pieces. You can rename them to track in order to be able to put the track there, but just remember to rename them back to it when you are done. Let's continue placing our track through the entire coaster. Now let's say you get to a point into your track where you accidentally skip over a part. I have a quick little hack for this since this has happened to me multiple times. As you can see, I skipped over this middle part. I'm going to Control Z on my keyboard and it will delete it. Now I'm going to click back at the start part. You will see it creates this piece again. That is because it is registering off of this piece right here. I'm going to press Control Z again and I can continue off of where I was going. Just click by clicking the next part and then the part. It should fix it automatically for you. Now I am finished with my track. It looks like a roller coaster track, which is how it should look. That's amazing. We are going to go to the high quality B&M supports. Use only with high quality B&M track, which is what we're going to open it. And we have our colors here. I'm going to make these match the other colors. I don't know why they have it blue. And you can see we have multiple options here. I'm going to just show you some of them quick. We have the straight track option. If I probably activate it first, we have the straight track option where it will generate a straight piece of track. A straight support segment. Now we have our try left, spawn a support segment going left like this. Very, very nice. Then we have a try right, which will support one going right, as it says in the name. It's extremely useful. Looks very nice too. And it's automatic, so you don't have to build any manual one. I recommend using little straight pieces for the lower ones because otherwise it will clip through the ground, and I do not know why it does that. Let me show you that really quickly. If I click one here, you can see it just goes into the ground and then it goes to the world border or whatever. So that's why I recommend just using little straight piece for low to the ground segment because it will never just go through the ground. Now we have the entire coaster like aesthetically put up. You can see all of our support, all of our stuff put up. Let me just close this plugin. We have everything up and it looks nice. I realize now after editing that I completely went over a section that's really important. Now that we have finished it all, you're gonna see how the train is like rendering lower. It's rendering directly like below it, which it doesn't, it's supposed to do that, and we just kind of got to tell it to not do that. So if we go back into the game, into Roblox Studio, and we go into our replicated storage, we go into modules, we go into coaster config, and then there's a generic coaster script right here. We're going to open this script and it's going to show you all this stuff. Here we have all these different little things you can read over because you probably know a little bit more about it than I do if you're watching this. We have all the names. You can change the names of them. Whenever I do this, it just would stop working, so I would just kind of leave it the same, but you can experiment with it. I'm too lazy. Here is where we're going to edit. We have the linear offset and like the angle offsets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to 1. It will move the train up 1 stud because it's XYZ. You probably know that. It'll move the train up 1 stud and it will hold it so it looks like it's actually riding on the track. Here you can like change the cart separation value. So let's say your carts are like squished inside each other. You can make this a bigger number to spread them apart more or closer together. And then here are where you would put all of your properties that are like visible here. So that's basically how you fix that issue. So now if we go back into Roblox, you can see here that the train is now on the track. It has moved up 1 stud from the center of this and it appears to be on the track. Change any of those intervals to what you need for it to look like it's rendering properly. This is a very long process and I will let you get back to the video. Now, let's say you want to have it go slower through this part and not gain any speed. We can set it to the color black. Now, speaking about that, we can change any color of these compiled track pieces to tell the ride how to interact with it. Let's say we were to make this green. Green is how we make launch sections. If we were to make these track pieces into this lime green color right here, it would then act as if it's going down a hill, constantly accelerating like a launch would. But it's a chain lift, so I'm going to set it to black, and the black will set it and pull it down to the lowest speed. So that's why it's used for a brake run and a station, because it acts basically as a speed decreaser till it gets to the minimum speed. Now, since we have these, I'm going to be leaving them the same, but I would like this to not gain speed here, even though it probably won't. I'm going to set it to black because I thought it also helps me kind of know what I'm doing, kind of connects them up. It also lets me know a little bit better what I'm doing. I would like it to not gain speed as I'm going through this part, because that's not really what roller coasters are supposed to do. One more thing to do before you are completely finished with your ride is to make this compiled track invisible. It is very ugly. You can go into it and select all these pieces, recommend by scrolling, something like that, setting the transparency all the way to 1. You can see it just completely disappears. Now, this might look a bit wonky, so I'm just gonna copy this and just duplicate it over and just kind of like imagine where it's gonna be. So like that. See, not not very perfect, but it works for now. Now you have finished your ride. You can build a station for it. You can do something else for it. Add decor, do something different, continue to look through the plugin, find catwalks, build details, do it all. let me know how this tutorial helped you. I want to see the stuff you make. Join my Discord in the description if you would like to show me something that you have made. It would be insane. I would love to see it. I might even make videos in the future of me looking at your stuff. If you have any questions, please comment them down below. I will try to get back to them, and hopefully some nice people in the comments might even help you. I will be doing my best. Check the description for everything. Other than that, this is it. Peace out.